Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. I'm here tonight to just catch up with those of you who like to do these live streams with me. I was just over in a live stream with Supernatural Crime with Nikki. You have to hop over there and see her most recent live in which she talked about the island of dolls. It was interesting because she was going through these supernatural crime stories and she mentioned the island of dolls, and I was like, where is that? Like, what are you talking about? And she pulled up some information and started talking about it, and then I was like, wait a minute, I was there in Mexico City a couple of years ago. Hi, Mama Cat. Happy Thursday. What time is it in Colorado? Is it like a 2-hour difference? It's 9:30 here. So I pulled up these pictures and a little bit of video from when we were down in Mexico City, and we're on these little boats going through the canals, checking out the little islands down there. And we never got off onto the island. We just went through the canals and came across this guy who has like a really big area just full of trees with dolls hanging from ropes. And that's a little bit about what Nikki talks about in this live. I thought it was interesting, and I had to say, Nikki, I've been there before. So this is Aubrey on the front of the boat. Let me share some more with you. Let me go to the end and then yeah. This is us riding in the canal. So they have all of these little boats. We were riding down the canal, and as you're riding, like, you stop, and I guess it's kind of like a touristy area now because there are many little canoes that are going by. This one here is actually a mariachi band canoe. And a mariachi band boat right next to us. It's full of mariachi players, and as you float by, you can pay them money and they will stop their boat and like play a mariachi song for you. This is a lady in a canoe. She was selling corn with butter. That was really fun. This is Aubrey on the boat. So little back then. We had so much fun there. 8:30 here in Oklahoma. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Kim. So I thought it was really interesting. If you would like to know more about this area and what Nikki was talking about, because it's Halloween time and all of that island of dolls, you should check out Supernatural Crime with Nikki. I pulled up the pictures because I thought of her when I realized we had been there. We had been to the haunted island of dolls. Oh, flying mom. Laura, that was really sweet of you. Thank you so much for Halloween. I really appreciate that. Okay, so I'm just here to chat tonight. I saw that another video went up from Mom of 8 Kids, and I haven't looked at it yet. And I thought it might be like interesting for us to kind of do it live, to watch it together live and talk back and forth about it, because no one in my real life knows who Mom of 8 Kids is. If you don't know who it is, it's a creator, like a new creator that I've been following that I'm really interested in. She's caused quite a stir on YouTube. Recently, her husband passed away, but many people are questioning her story and calling her a grifter. All of the research I've done is showing me that that's not the case. I have a lot of sympathy for Rosalie. She's the primary creator on the channel. I've done some other videos about her, but I thought we would take some time to watch her most recent video and talk about it. All right, let me share screen. Let's see. Mom of 8 Kids is the name of the YouTube channel. You can see it here. You can see she's got several videos that have been up. Her most popular videos started about 2 weeks ago. They were like vlogs of her talking about the sudden, unexpected death of her husband and her concerns afterwards, like CPS getting involved, having the death investigated, not knowing what to do next. She seems to have a very interesting origin story, and a lot of people are questioning that. I don't question it. I think that this is a person who is struggling a lot and turned to YouTube to try to like just find some kind of emotional support. Now she's gotten a lot of views, and people have been doing things like calling the police and CPS on her. And I think it's mostly because they truly are concerned, right, guys? Like most people, they're tuning into this channel and they're like, what is going on here? You know? Hi, Ivana. Hi, Kat. They're like, what is going on here? And people who haven't been following it all along, they're not going to have seen like the way that everything evolved, because Rosalie has shown to everyone on screen like pictures of records she's gotten from CPS saying that they've done a full like case analysis and everything is fine with her kids. And so people continue to make phone calls to the local authorities, and a lot of things have been going on. So let's listen in a little bit and see what's happening here.
For people who want to make a difference, people just like you. You're always saying be the change. So come on, man. Be the change.
I had mentioned on one of my previous videos. Hello, this is Rosalie, mom of 8 kids. Yesterday, I had to go into the police station because they wanted to ask me some questions. Somebody had...
So the video before this, someone had called CPS and the police had come out to her house again. And at that point in time, Rosalie was like, I'm very grateful that you guys care about me. I really appreciate it. And they've come and spoken to me and taken a look at everything again. And they understand that we've already like shown everything that we can. Everything is fine. And they were very kind and supportive. So I just want to let you guys know, like, everything is fine here. But now it looks like the police are starting to ask more questions about the death of her.
I had called the police, and that was last week, and said that they weren't investigating properly because I had mentioned on one of my previous videos that I had taken some video of my husband before he passed, shortly before he passed, suddenly.
So my understanding is that Rosalie's husband, he's significantly older, like in his 70s, and he had this issue with taking a lot of prescribed meds. And it frequently occurred that he would pass out on the floor or in other places in the home, and it was just very normal for them. This most recent time when he passed out, my understanding is that there was some vomit that came out, and Rosalie ended up either taking a video or a picture of it, which she was going to show to him when he woke up, because she said that this is like a frequent occurrence for them. She wanted to show him like, this is how bad it gets, and like, I get so worried about you when something like this happens. So let's see what she has to say.
And that they wanted to ask me some questions about it. And I know that usually you would take a lawyer with you if the police want you to come in for questioning, but the detective investigating the case, she said that I wasn't a suspect, and I believe her when she says that I am not a suspect. So
okay, so the police ask her to come in for questioning. It's about her husband's death. And one of the issues that I've had when I talk about Mom of 8 Kids, and that we see all throughout the Mom of 8 Kids comments, is people saying like, you need to get an attorney. Here we have Buckeye Hockey 1979 saying, Rosalie, if the police want to talk to you again, for your own sake, get a lawyer. What you are saying, the detective said, sounds a lot like they are trying to convince you not to bring counsel with you. Even if you did nothing wrong, it is too easy for them to get you to say something incriminating. A recorded questioning is hardly a friendly chat. Anytime they ask you to come to the station, assume they think you did something and get a lawyer. So there's a lot of people commenting this. We have down here Kendra saying, holy crap, lady, you fell right into their trap. And then she goes on to say, detectives use a technique where they stay friendly with you and treat you like a friend to not scare you. So a lot of people are like, what is going on, Rosalie? You need to get a lawyer. I find this interesting because now, from my point of view, my husband was once a lawyer. Marissa, she lives in Canada. My husband, and I think most of the people who are commenting are, I mean, they should be aware of that because it's been talked about constantly regarding this situation. My husband was once a lawyer in a former life, and I'm very aware from all my true crime investigations that I do on my own late at night that everyone should have a lawyer, but I feel like if something like this happened to me, I really feel like I would be like, I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to worry about. Like, yeah, talk to me. Let's do this. You know, I think I would most likely want a lawyer if like things were, if I had a perception that something went wrong, or like it was really like they were asking me to talk about something that just didn't really make sense to me. But if I was in this exact situation, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I would be like, sure, why not? I can talk to you about what happened. I mean, he overdosed on his medications. I don't have any like guilt in any of that. I think it's pretty obvious. So let's hear what else she has to say, because maybe it's going to become obvious that they are really suspicious of her.
Empress, can you please be quiet? Okay, thank you. So she said I wasn't a suspect, and I believe her when she says that I'm not a suspect. So I agreed to it, and I wasn't worried about it because I haven't done anything wrong. As I mentioned before, if I had done something wrong, if I was guilty of something, I would not be talking about it on social media. So I went in, and my plan is that if things got nasty, I could always just stop answering questions and tell them.
I totally agree with what Brenda's saying here. Country Girl Brenda says, and you should check out her channel, I really feel bad for her. It seems like YouTube is her therapy, but it could also be her fall down. This is like a perfect statement. This should be the title of anything. If you do a video about Mama Make Kids Again, Brenda, that should be the title of it. I know it's too long. But yeah, I think that she's turning to YouTube for emotional support. She said, like, I was significantly younger when I married my husband. I don't have any family left that I talk to. I don't really have anybody that I talk to. I've been very isolated, and I don't know what to do next. And that's what her prior videos are about. It's literally like a very desperate person showing up on the screen and being like, I don't know how we're going to live. And I think she could be much more manipulative about money. And I don't believe that she was. You know, she was saying, like, I've started a Patreon. You can come there and check it out. She could be much more pushing us down the rabbit hole of giving her cash. And I don't think that she does that. I think she genuinely like hopes that maybe this YouTube channel would bring in a little bit of revenue for her, number one. Number two, it would result in like having a fan base that she can talk back and forth with, and also result in like getting some feedback from good people around her. But instead, I think that the shock of what is going on this channel drew so many people in so quickly that she's getting a lot of people in her comments who normally like wouldn't give a shit about someone like her in her situation. It's just that her video became so popular, it showed up in everyone's feed and they started clicking on it, which I understand that gives her more money. Good for her. But now she's dealing with people who don't, you know, I don't know, seem to have much empathy for her and are questioning a lot of things, which I get it. I get it. I have said for a long time, it's highly possible that it's going to come out that like this was a scam. I don't believe that. In my heart, I feel like I get the vibe of like, this is for real. But you know, I won't be overly shocked if I find out that it isn't. I mean, things like that happen all the time. There are only 3 small kids. The rest can help. Yeah, that's one of the issues though too, is that she constantly talks about it like her 19 and 20-year-old, like they're going to help her. They'll drive her everywhere. They're going to get jobs. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And it's kind of like, does a 20-year-old really have to stay home and like raise his younger siblings and basically be a replacement father? I think there's some issues going on there with that as well. But I do get the feeling that they are staying home, they are helping her, and I believe they are helping her with the YouTube channel as well. And I have a lot of other thoughts that I can't be sure about because we're only getting like snippets of information from Rosalie. But when I have looked back at a lot of the other footage that she had put on the channel even before her husband passed away, there's just like short shots of the kids and very short shots of some of the older kids. And I would say that we're looking at children who may be like neurodiverse. Of course, I don't know all of them. I don't see all of them, but I didn't get the feeling that these kids are like raring and ready to go and get out of the house and like ready to go start a company to take care of their family. Like, I just got this feeling of like they were very protected, very isolated. Maybe there were also some things going on neurologically with them, but these are from very short snippets. So there just could be a lot of issues going on here. It's really, these YouTube moms have really freaked us out lately. Yeah, especially with Ruby Frankie. But as I said before, like, not everyone is Ruby Frankie.
That I evoke my right to a lawyer, but I didn't think it would come to that, really. So it's the first time I've been to a police station, really. I never had to go to a police station before. She said at the start of the session that if I was a suspect, then she's required to tell me that I am a suspect and make me aware of my right to a lawyer. But she said, you're not a suspect. She reiterated that. And so she also told me that the session would be recorded and that her superior lieutenant would be currently monitoring it as we talk. So what she wanted, first of all, was just to go over what happened that night. So I told her everything that I knew what happened, and she asked me some questions, and I showed her the video that I took of my husband. And
I don't know. I mean, I do think that if she took video of her husband and she hasn't shown it to the police before, and the police got a tip from someone who watches the YouTube channel that there's a video, regardless of what's going on, they're going to be like, if the case has been totally closed, which I think Rosalie told us it was closed at one point, they're going to have to open it again and be like, can you show us the video? Let's take a look at it and make sure nothing like inappropriate was happening, because we got a tip. You know, we have to take a look. We have to close this out. From what I understand, the police are aware of her situation because they've gotten so many calls. They're probably like, this is another YouTube call, Rosalie, but like, we need to take a look at it. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what her situation is, but I'm going to say this. If I was the mom of 8 kids, my husband just died. Let's say some of them have autism, they're neurodiverse. There's a couple of young kids. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to bring in an income and financially support my children. I've told you, get on OnlyFans. If OnlyFans will take me, if Craigslist ads will accept me as some sort of, I don't even know what they want from me. Anything that needs to be done is what I will do. I mean, I don't want to get online and like show myself like breaking down about my husband and talk about like how I might have contributed to his death. But if I had to do it to bring in some financial like income from my family, I would do anything I had to do.
You can hear him snoring in the video. And she said, yes, he is definitely snoring. He was snoring loudly. And so I answered her questions. It took a while. I think it was about an hour and a half. And I called her this morning because I remembered that I did have a short video on my channel where my husband is snoring loudly. And so I called her this.
Yeah, Kim says someone said he died in June 2022. It was actually in July. So that's a big part of why people have started questioning the hell out of the story of Rosalie, because she popped onto the YouTube street with these videos that seem like they were in real time. But over the past week, she's come forward and she's admitted these are old vlogs from when he died in July, and I'm just putting them up in a series now. And she says, like, we were living off of a disability pension that he was receiving from Canada, and the pension runs out at the end of October. So I was kind of waiting and trying to think about what I want to do, trying to get all. I actually kind of respect this a lot more now. People have been like, she lied to us, she's manipulating us. Maybe she is. I don't really see it that way. She never like said, this is happening right now. You know, she didn't say that. She just put the vlogs up. They were very raw. They were very real. And it worked to draw people in, right? Okay. So what she's saying is like, I took some time Like I did the vlogs. I didn't immediately post them. I took some time to I had to go down to the court and get this and get that. I found out that the disability pension would last a little bit longer after he passed away. Now the disability pension is running out, and I'm shooting my shot at trying to get some sort of social media following going so that I could make a little bit of income off of it. That's the sense that I'm getting. I really believe, and I've tried to reach out to her, maybe I should try some other. I've been wondering a lot if it's the older kids that maybe even have their own, this is my sense, maybe they even have their own YouTube channels. They've seen how it works. They have even made a little bit of money off of it. And they have tried to push their mom to be like, look, we could do this, set it up and try to make some money for you. I don't know if that's the case. That's kind of something that's run through my mind because her thumbnails are so well done. And she really came on the scene and then immediately pulled in all these views. It made me think that someone was behind it who knew what they were doing, right? That's my opinion. That's the bad thing about kept women. They become dependent and isolated. And I think that's what we see with Rosalie. We've only been given these snippets about what her life is. That's why the channel is so interesting though. So she has stopped posting the vlogs from before and she's just posting these videos about the police coming in. I would keep posting those vlogs, Rosalie, and don't answer questions. Get people riled up. Let the police, I don't know. This is me. I would be scared, but I would let the police keep coming. And I would say to them, look, I would meet with the police and I would be like, look, I know people from YouTube are calling you, but here's the thing. I want to try in this moment that I've grabbed an audience and I'm making all these views. I want to try to get as many views as possible, pull them in. I think 100,000 views, which I know one of her videos has that, could be close to $1,000 payout for her. Get as many views as you can, bring in $10,000, $20,000 over the next couple of months. And at least you have that nest egg, and then come on and explain to everyone what's going on. Maybe I'm crazy to say that, but I think maybe because I grew up with a lot of financial insecurity, I'm just my number one priority would be I need to get some money in the bank to keep us afloat. I at least need a little nest egg to sit on for this year while I figure out a real job, or I figure out what I'm going to do with my kids, who I can depend on. I would be I'm not going to explain myself to these people. They can call me, a liar. They can call me whatever, as long as I'm bringing money in. I would. Sometimes when you're desperate, as a mom, this is my thing. When it's just me, I remember in college when it was just me and I'm working, I don't really care. I can be the kind, loving, good person that I want to be and do all the right things. But when it comes to my kids, if my kids need something, if my kids are in danger and I'm desperate, I will do whatever the hell it takes to make sure that they're okay. Maybe that's kind of what she's thinking. I don't know.
This morning, and I left a message for her saying that was on my YouTube channel. And if she wanted to have a look at it, she could compare the two. He sounds very similar in both of those videos, snoring. I came across a love note that my husband wrote to me probably about 6 months ago.
That's sad. Before we get into this, I have to share. I love Mama Cat was I'd show my feet for money. 110%. I know my feet are not good enough. I was going to say something. I'm not even going to go there. It has to do with Asian people feet. I'm not going to go there. Okay. Marissa says, I should, but I don't want to deal with the taxes. Hashtag lazy. I love that one. Yeah, but if it came down to it, whatever I need to do. Oh my God. This is just an aside that I want to, I don't know if I've shared this with you guys or not. I'll quickly tell this story. There was a time when I lived in California. I used to be an ABA consultant out in San Francisco. And this was in my prior life before I became a nurse. So I was living out there. I was working for this company. And the company had a picture of me on their website with information about the consulting I could do for applied behavioral analysis. And I was specializing in kids with special needs. So I remember the picture was it just looked like a very like teacher, like sweet teacher, curly hair, just like sweet smile. And I think there was like a child in my lap or something. So it was the kind of teacher who it was the kind of picture that I think would draw in this kind of a person. Okay, to make a long story short, I ended up being contacted by this guy who claimed to be like a film director in Hollywood. I didn't go like far enough down the rabbit hole to know everything about it, but basically he sent me this contract. He wanted me to look at it and like meet with him and talk to his lawyers and everything, where what he wanted from me was to come to his home and be his nanny. I'm not kidding you. The contract was extreme. It showed like all this information about what he was like, I send this contract to you like flat out, like telling you what I'm looking for so that you can, look at it and get back to me or just say no and move on. Like I have a couple of people that I'm contacting about this, but the contract was like, I have a fetish where I want to dress in a diaper and be at home. Like I have a certain apartment that I'll be using. There will be like a crib. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. I still wonder if I can go back and pull up the email with like some of the emails with some of the information about it. I know I don't have the contract because it was something like the contract disappears or whatever. You can't like save it. But anyway, it was like all this information about what he would require me to do. And then the payout would be like for the summer, I will pay you like $25,000 to do this like 2 hours a day or something. Okay. And then I remember in the contract, it was like there will be no like sexual interaction. This is literally like I am a baby. Of course, it was written much more professional. It's like I am a baby and you are my nanny or my mommy. I was like, I remember I had a boyfriend at the time, but I seriously was just a little considering it. But I didn't have kids. If I had kids, you better, for damn sure, if anyone just like sent that to me right now, yes. The answer is yes. $25,000 for 2 months of work, 2 hours a day. Yes, absolutely. Actually, that makes me wonder if I could create a YouTube channel like that. Oh my God. I just had an amazing thought. A mommy channel. Wow. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole on that one. Crazy to think someone took that job for $25,000. I should have done it. I've heard of adult baby fetishes. Yeah, it's like extreme. So I had never heard of it. I was still pretty young at that point. I must have been like 21. I had just 22. Just finished like my college stuff. I went to school. I started college a little bit young. And so, yeah, it was like my first thing, but I could have used the money and I could still use that money right now. So I definitely would get into it. That's separate from what's going on with Mama of 8. She has nothing to do with any of that. Sorry, that is an aside. Let's just take a drink to separate Mom of 8 away from the baby fetish thing. Oh my God. Yeah, I need a P.O. box because supposedly someone's going to send me like pepper spray. So why wouldn't they send me expensive shoes? I don't have good enough feet though. I think they really like small feet, right? I have really big feet. The questions. Who would have to, yeah, so you have to change him. That was in the contract for sure. Like he was very upfront and very professional. And he was flat out like, this is what I like. I don't want to be judged about it. So the other thing, the other thing that he mentioned in the contract is that he did have someone who is filling the job right now, but it was a dominatrix, okay? So he talks about how he had found this dominatrix. So he's like, you may be asking why I'm contacting you. He's like, because I saw your picture and information on this website and it matches up for what I'm looking for in the person to fulfill this role. Because as of right now, I have a dominatrix who I pay to fulfill this role, and I don't feel like she fits into the type of person I want to be the mommy nanny type. And that really clicked with me because I remember looking back at the picture and be like, oh no, this is like the perfect picture of like just a very like someone that is like plain, but also like nice girl, pretty, like, not like, obviously not, I was never like gorgeous, but like just, you know, kind of that look of like, I'm just a nice girl here to take care of you. I know, I could see why he picked me. I remember thinking that a lot of the other girls at that company that had their pictures up, they were like giving like an Instagram like pouty face, like, you know, and here I am just like, oh, I love kids. Is this way too much info? Am I giving you way too much info? I'm sorry. It was a long time ago, and it felt like it was an appropriate time to talk about that because I don't talk about it. Marissa says, I was on a dating site once. The guy told me I was pretty, then asked if I was willing to put on 100 pounds or more. And I was already 100 pounds overweight. Do you mean shocked? Yeah, because that's like a thing too, right? Where they want to feed you to make you overweight. I'd be like, yes. Will you pay for that? Like pay for all the food plus give me some money on the side. I will have no problem gaining 100 pounds for you, for sure. I'm sorry that this is turning into something awful. Jill, my mom used to say I needed big feet for I need big feet for balance. I'm not exactly graceful. Yeah. I have big feet. Okay. Nah, that guy was giving you way too much info. Yeah, I do. I was shocked by it. I was like, this isn't real. I remember when I first received it, I was like, I thought I was like, I tried to say to myself, am I dreaming? Like, I never received anything like that before and never since. And I should have done it. You have to marry me to see my feet. Well, funny enough that Rosalie does a lot of like pedicure feet videos on her channel. So if you're interested in that, head over there. Okay, let's get back to Rosalie. We're separating. Rosalie has nothing to do with everything I just talked about. All right, let's share this screen. Myself a little. Rosalie is a good girl.
Go. And this is what he wrote. It was a comfort when I found this. If you can't read his handwriting, it says, I have never loved as I love you, my dear. And then he signed it here. I wrote the date on top because I write the dates on his notes that he gives me, leaves for me. I keep them all.
It's so sad. I really don't get the relationship. That's why she needs to capitalize on this. Rosalie, if you see this, like it is true that this channel is so mysterious. That is a big part of the reason why she gets these views. And if I were her, I know she's probably hurting and she probably does care about her husband if this is all for real. But like I would capitalize on it. I'd put like mystery after mystery out there. Pull in that money for as long as you possibly can.
And I date them. So it is a comfort that he felt that way towards the end of his life. Even in the last short video that I put up, he says in that video, the 2 a.m. one, that, oh, that's my daughter, that he's very happy to have the family we have. So I feel comforted.
Now, I think this is a little odd because I do feel like she's trying to show us, like, we were in love. He loved me. I definitely didn't kill him. And it's like, girl, you don't have to show me, like, a note from him to prove that. Like, the police will investigate and decide one way or another. You don't have to prove it to us on the internet with these little notes. We want to know more. Like, we do want to know more. Why was he so much older than you? Like, what was your relationship about? I think that those are interesting things she could talk about. Because a lot of people, I mean, people are speculating, myself included. A lot of people have been like, was she super religious? Like, why did she get married? Like, right. I think she said she met him. I don't know. I thought she said she met him when she was 18, married him when she was 19. And then her family completely like separated themselves from her because they did not agree with the relationship. Like, was there something wrong with her family, or was this relationship like really crazy? I would like to know more. She can make videos about those like mysterious parts of the story and people will watch it because I do want to know what's going on.
By that he was happy with us. And he always was concerned about how everybody in our family would do once he passed. He said that he would be guiding.
Okay. So first, Soul says, her not checking on him is understandable to anyone who lived with an addict. Thank you, Souls. I've brought this up before, and I do think a lot of people who have been very like critical of Rosalie, it's like, well, I guess you haven't lived with someone who I've lived as a child with people who pass out and do whatever. I've been in homes where that's happening as a nurse that's like looking in on people. So Soul says, I do believe he was addicted to his pain meds, and I do believe she tries to show him what the pills were doing to him. That's kind of what she's brought up, and I get that as well. Her first video she did on cleaning products with a clean oven. Yes. So a lot of her videos are about like foot stuff, doing pedicures on her husband, and then she'll do like hauls from the dollar store and then cleaning products and food and that kind of stuff. We often start taking off story and then we get back on track. I know we do. We start talking off this stuff. Poor Ivana, if you missed it, you have to go back and see what we were talking about. Oh, Artist Creek. Okay, guys, Artist Creek. I found Artist Creek's stuff on Amazon, and I have to show you. Let me bring it up. Let's watch a little bit more of what's going on with Rosalie, and I will also bring up Artist Creek.
Me from heaven. Because obviously he knew that he would be the one to go before me, given his age. And he was very caring like that. When things would work out for us, for example, the bank account, the bank didn't want to do a probate on it. That worked out for us, especially because there was no will. And little things like that. I felt that he was helping us from heaven when things would go well like that. And now I feel more connected to him because I feel that
I feel like this is also kind of where weird. It's like, once again, trying to prove to us, like, I loved him. He's contacting me from beyond, so I definitely didn't kill him. No, I did not kill him. Please believe me. Okay, let's see. Marissa says, I take meds for PTSD and I randomly self-harm. If my mom doesn't hear from me, she texts to see if I'm alive. I don't respond. My dad even checks. Oh my gosh. Are your mom and dad, do they live near you, Marissa? That's hard. Yeah. And she's saying that like she didn't have anyone in her life to be around her. So I hear you saying that like you have these people who love you, who check on you, which is amazing. And I certainly would want to do that for someone that I loved. I don't think she really has that. Now, why she wasn't checking more on her husband, I do get the feeling that she doesn't understand everything. That's a feeling I get, is that she's not like someone who really understands or has access to learning more about like what these medications are, what she should do about them. That was the feeling that I got from it. Okay, so let me switch. I think I just want to show Artist Creek stuff. Artist Creek, if you're here, then tell me if this is right or not. I had put some things into my like Amazon cart. So this was the stuff. So she does, she or he, I don't know. I don't want to be like weird. So like these are Sisterwives t-shirts. Be as happy as one of Cody Brown's ex-wives. I love this. Be as happy as one of Cody Brown's ex-wives. Hashtag Sisterwives. Team Janelle and Team Christine. 100%. You should make one that's Team Fifth Wife. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. No one will buy it. I want to buy one of these. So I think I'm going to buy one and do like a giveaway. But let me know if this is you or not. But and there were other kinds other than Sisterwives. There was actually, the thing is, I don't know how to get there, but there was another shirt that you make that I really like. Someone tell me if Artist Creek is confirming that this is her stuff. There was another shirt that you made that I really like. Okay, so the brand is Artist Creek. And she did a lot of nursing stuff. And then she did Creepin' It Country, which I really like because I love Halloween. I don't know if you can see that I have all this Lego stuff that Jack picked out in my cart. And I don't see it here. I'm not going to go through all of it, but there were a bunch of like nurse shirts that I loved. It was like, we're on the Boo Boo crew, which is like for Halloween for nurses. And I was like so into that. So I'll try to do, let me see if she says, yeah, that's her. Okay, good. Artist Creek. All right, so check her out on Instagram. And if you like make more designs, please like let us know. That's fun too. I think I'm going to try to get one and then give it away, but I have to think about like what size would fit most people. Okay. So let me go back to sharing let's finish up with Mama Babe. There's not much more to the video. So let's go to Mama 8.
It's been a positive energy that has been, that's my daughter. She's looking at a book. There's been a positive energy flow because things have been going well overall for us. It hasn't been easy, but overall it's been going all right. You know, we still have a roof over our head.
I totally agree with this. Marissa says, nothing to be sorry about. I'm lucky my parents check in. Just saying it because there are so many reasons just to think someone is okay when they're not. 110%. Oh, I've seen that. We have some people in our family who we've lost or have like all kinds of stuff going on. Everyone thought that they were just fine. They seem like the strongest, the most well off, people with money and looks and charm. When I would say like, I don't have a lot of those things. And then when I found out they were really suffering behind closed doors, I was shocked. Yeah. So you never know what's going on with someone. Okay, so let's go back here. Thank you for sharing.
I wasn't kicked off of my husband's disability immediately. Our worker gave us 3 months, which was standard. I didn't know it at the time, you know, when my husband suddenly.
Ivana, I agree with what you're saying here. So Ivana was saying that she would be concerned about the kids, that they're just walking around, right? And this is a normal thing that the dad is passed out on the floor and he's throwing up. Totally agree. It's very concerning. Now, I shared before that I've been into homes where this kind of thing is happening, and we wouldn't even necessarily like remove the kids, even if we were actively seeing it. I mean, depending upon the situation, like if there is a stable, loving parent there, and they're not the one that is lying on the floor doing this, then we're going to try to work with the family. That's one step we would take first. So I get the feeling from Rosalie, once again, the isolation was part of this, where I guess she thought like, well, sometimes this happens. I'm just going to try to get through it. This is my husband. This is who I have. That's the feeling I get. Like this was her person that she depended upon. But once again, there's a lot of mystery here. Like I want to know more.
Past that would be the case. So in terms of that, things are going all right. And it is a comfort that he would feel peace knowing that we're okay. I want to thank you again for watching and listening. And thank you for being a support. Thank you so much.
I mean, I think these are real feelings. I will be shocked to find out if it's not the case. I think this is a real person sharing their real feelings, even if you don't like it, if you don't like the way that she went about it. I do like some of these people's feedback will be like, stay strong, Rosalie, take care of yourself. You are the sweetest person. You are an amazing mom. I will say I was skeptical at first. I was relieved when you cleared the air and were upfront about the skewed timeline. Things don't seem shady anymore. Thank you for being honest. Thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. So I'm glad that she gets a lot of those like positive comments as well. Going back up here, let's go back to her channel, Mama of 8 Kids, if you want to go over and take a look and join. I think this was one of the videos I watched that I thought was kind of sweet.
Okay, so here we are. We're cleaning up the backyard. We got our garbage. We got our other garbage. Getting ready for winter coming up. Kids are being kids, having fun. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
So there's an extended version of that video where you actually see the husband come out. And I don't know if it was extended or another time. You see the husband come out and he's helping, and they find like bunnies in the backyard, and they're like preparing a little area where they throw all of the extra leaves and stuff for the bunnies to like make a burrow. And I thought like it looked nice. I mean, to me, that seems like the kids have a play place, the kids have a trampoline. I think you can see some of these older sons standing around. Like I said, we don't know what's going on with them. I'm pretty sure they stay home and don't go to school. There's so many mysteries going on, but I mean, I'm watching the channel, and I did, send a little money for support. I hope that she'll be okay. And I'd actually like prefer to watch people like this who are going through hard times and kind of sharing like a real story. At the end of all of this, if it is for real and she puts out all these vlogs, like it could eventually be combined into one like 2-hour video where you kind of see the progression of someone. I find that really interesting. The progression of someone who loses their husband and kind of goes on a like journey, sort of like, what am I going to do? How am I going to live? I find those kinds of things interesting because, but for the grace of God, go I. I mean, something like that could happen to any of us. And things have happened in my life that have been really hard, and it's been raw, and I didn't have a perfect house, and I can relate to Rosalie on like certain, I mean, obviously not in every way. I've been very blessed to live the life I've lived, but I'm saying like a lot of us can relate to some things about it. Jill says, it certainly seems she may have some mental health issues for sure. And we haven't, once again, gotten all the information, right? About like, how did she get with her husband? What's really going on in the house? Country girl Brenda. With my ex, I knew to let him be. Oh, because I remember he had some addiction issues maybe. If you woke him up, his anger would come out. I finally learned he had a problem that I did not want. We left in the middle of the night. Oh my God, Brenda, you're so strong. No regrets. Brenda, you are a strong woman. I love watching Country Girl, Brenda's channel, and you should talk about that if you want to on your channel. I would love to do a live where you talk about like, I mean, it's hard to talk about those things. I have a hard time. I'm over here talking about guys who want me to be their nanny and do their diapers. So don't listen to what I have to say. Do your own thing. She said she told the cops her doctor's number. I'm not sure, Kim. I have to go back and look at that. I don't remember seeing that. I remember seeing the paperwork where she shows like that they gave her kind of a pass saying like she's been cleared, so on and so forth. Texas by storm. She was 19 when they got married. She cut off communication with her family because they didn't agree with their relationship. Yep, we talked about that earlier. So we don't know, but like why? What happened? Was her family like a problem? Did she come from a family that was like treating her wrong, so she wanted to leave and get out of there? Like it's unusual your family would completely cut everything off. Did her family really hate this guy? Was he the problem? Is he abusive? Like Brenda's kind of sharing with us, maybe she was afraid to wake him up and try to see what was going on with him, because if she did, like in the past, she knew that he would be inappropriate, be mean, be loud. Like maybe she couldn't deal with that. We don't have all the information. That's why her channel is like kind of really hooking people in. And I'd rather that happen for someone like her who needs this kind of help than someone who's just doing stupid, oh my God, stupid videos like my stupid videos. But there's stupider videos than mine for sure. Harness Creek. I got lucky. My dad got sober when I was 18. I, of course, married an alcoholic, but he is 13 years sober. Yeah, and it like so runs in the family like that. Or I've told you all before, like I've been a member of Al-Anon for a long time because there was so much alcoholism in my family, and addiction is really like an issue that's gotten passed down through generations. It's hard to like get out of that for sure. Sarita Banana. It seems like she's a very kind and calm mom, and not hyper vigilant and critical and yelling at the kids like my mother was. I'm sorry, Sarita. I just think it's funny because it's like okay, that's like something that happens to me too. Like when I used to watch the Roseanne show, that home looked so like nice compared to my home. And so I was saying this to someone recently. Like, I think I was saying it to my husband, and he was like, "What?" And I was like, because he was saying like, yeah, I liked watching that home because I thought like, gosh, my life's so much better than that. But I said I liked watching that. I liked watching the Roseanne show because I was like, this is what my life could be if I had a family that loved each other. So you're like, you know how like your perception will be clouded by what you experience. Like you could look at Mom of 8 Kids. Some people would look at that and be like, this home seems so lovely and clean. If they had experienced like a home that was not as clean, like come on, that's like the reality that some people have those kinds of pasts. Ivana, I have relatives that are alcoholics. I can relate to difficulties. Life is not always so black and white, and there's lots of different scenarios. Totally agree. Congratulations, Kathy. What happened to Kathy? I am sober 20 years. That's wonderful, Kathy. I'm happy for you. I would say like I've been sober my whole life from alcohol, but then my addictions cropped up in other places in my life, for sure. Like you can, like just to be like, well, when someone is an alcoholic or like the people in my family that are alcoholics, like I really understand them because I can have an addictive personality to other things. The only reason I didn't do alcohol was because, well, first off, because of the alcoholism in my family, I looked around and thought that was like the worst thing ever. I'll never drink alcohol. Secondly, I developed Crohn's disease, and it can be like really affected by drinking alcohol. So I do drink it more now since I've become a mom. I'll have like something to drink at night, maybe a couple of times a week, but like very little. And it affects me a lot because I've never like had very much. But I just want to put out there that like, I mean, there's so many different kinds of addiction. I can be like, I was never addicted to alcohol, but like there are other addictions in my life as well. Okay. So that was something that I also wanted to share this stuff that is happening on Instagram. Okay, first and foremost, I'm really glad that this came up because I was already thinking about wanting to talk about it. I should have talked about this at the beginning. If you guys don't know Renelle Smith, you should know her. Go and check out her channel here on YouTube. And you can also check her out on Instagram. She is just, in my opinion, such a lovely, lovely person. Renelle Smith is one of the only people, and like we don't know each other that well. I've brought her up in different videos. She may have brought me up, but I do watch her channel. We don't know each other that well, and yet she is one of the only people who reached out to me when, if you guys don't know, when I moved from Kuala Lumpur to the United States and my home was like completely trashed. She's one of the only creators who sent me a message, like she had seen what was happening, and she sent me a lovely and kind message, like letting me know that she was worried about me and thinking about me. And I was just like, oh, that's so nice. The vibe I get from her is like, this is a good person. Okay. So she hasn't been on YouTube as much, not creating as many videos. And that makes me sad because I really like watching her stuff. She keeps me updated specifically about Without a Crystal Ball, but other people too. Like she's gone down the rabbit hole with like the Dre McRae stuff, just different people that she talks about. She'll talk about other creators as well. When she says something, I listen. I don't always agree with it. I'm sure she would not always agree with everything I say, but I respect her for sure. So even if I disagree, I will listen more because it's coming from her. And recently she put up this message that made me really sad. She says, "Good afternoon, beautiful people. I will be absent for the rest of this week. My dad flatlined last night and is now in the ICU." And she goes on to talk about there's a lot going on. And she says, have a safe, wonderful, and productive rest of your week. It would be wonderful if any of you can hop over there, leave her messages. I actually found her email looking around on her channel. I'm going to send her, I'm going to try to send her a gift card if I can figure out how to make it work. If this is someone worth supporting. I really feel like there's no one who can say that this is someone you don't want to support. She's a kind person who just speaks her truth. She's one of those people who doesn't get anything out of talking about Without a Crystal Ball except just like being upfront and honest about it. So please, if you can send good vibes, if you can check out her channel, if you can send her a message, if you can send her an email, it would be amazing, because she is a really, really good person. And I don't know if you guys know, but I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but this is my understanding from watching a lot of her videos. Her family is from South Africa, and her dad and mom just arrived. I think it was like months ago. They arrived from South Africa to come here and live with her and her kids. So they've only been here for a short time, and Renelle has spoken so positively about it. She's been like, I love having my parents here. Getting to see them be with their grandkids means the world to me. And now this is happening. And like, that's so, Renelle's the kind of person who's never going to say like, go to my Patreon, help me with this. Like, she'll never ask for anything. And so I just really want to put it out there that like, I'm not going to wait for her to ask. I don't live near her, but I'm going to send her something. I'm going to send her good thoughts. I'm going to get on there and do what I can. You know, this is someone who never asked for anything. So please check her out if you can. That would mean a lot to me. Okay. All right. So I saw that on Balls 2.0 on Instagram. I really appreciated that. But I also went to Balls to check out what's going on with Sisterwives, because I have completely X'd out Without a Crystal Ball from my life. I don't look at her Instagram. I don't look at her Facebook. I don't look at her YouTube, because I have a lot of issues with it, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole anymore. But, you know, looking at Balls 2.0 and knowing what's going on with Gwen Brown has really kind of still sent me down the rabbit hole. So in my opinion, Without a Crystal Ball has been ferociously posting on her Instagram all about like how much she hates Gwen Brown, and not how much she dislikes McKelty Brown. That's really the main person right now. And then with Gwen, she's just talking all this schmeck about different things. Okay, so she specifically is saying that like the whole situation with Gwen not going to the wedding, it's because she's in a fight with Christine and they won't tell you the truth. They lie about everything. I'm the one that's got all the information over here and I can tell you. And she goes on and on and on about it. She'll come up with like, Gwen had to sign a special contract and then this happened. And you know, it's just like so salacious, so crazy. And I said before, and I'll say it again, like Gwen has a YouTube page and a Patreon. Let's wait and see what she has to say about it. She can tell us, you know. Now, I don't mind people talking about it. We all love the gossip. I love the gossip. You guys know I had a source email me and they were like, hey, here's what's really going on. It's because Gwen is really stressed out with school. I got that email like a couple of days before Gwen went to her own Patreon and let everyone know, yes, I am stressed out about school. That's what's going on. So, I guess she continued to get more questions and feedback. And you know that Gwen is highly aware of Without a Crystal Ball. She spoke about her on her Patreon. I made a whole video about that. I thought it was hilarious for Without a Crystal Ball to finally get called out by someone in this family. So Gwen recently posted this. She says, just realized I never said why I'm going on hiatus. Okay, because she hasn't been making as many videos on her YouTube page. She says, I'm taking 7 classes this semester and I don't have enough time for both YouTube and Patreon editing if I want to pass organic chemistry. And that's what I had heard, that there was like specifically a chemistry test and she was doing the best she could. There was a lot of anxiety. She thought that she would go and make it to her mom's wedding, and then there was just too much going on. She could not make it happen. Since Patreon pays me better, I'm pausing my YouTube work for now, but I'll be back at the end of the semester if I don't quit Sisterwives forever, considering how many grown-ass adults are so comfy with cyberbullying me. Go, Gwen. I like that. I really like that. And I'm not saying that she's only speaking about Without a Crystal Ball, but I do think that that's one of the people who was doing it. So I put a post up on my YouTube, like showing this, and I said, like, stop bullying Gwen. And specifically, like, the woman in Minnesota who's almost 50 and sits on her butt on her couch all day needs to stop talking schmeck about a 19-year-old kid who came out of the AUB. Because that is one of the biggest things that Without a Crystal Ball spends all of her time putting all over her YouTube channel, all over her social media, is that she's here for the victims. She's here for the victims, guys. This is a cult, and she supports victims, and her content is all about helping them out. And it is the opposite. Reality is the opposite of that. She is a fan channel page. Although she never was a fan. She's always hated Sisterwives and the Duggars, and she's talked about that extensively before the Duggars started bringing in a lot of money for her. Now she knows all about them, but before she was like, the people who watch the Duggars, like, what's wrong with them? Those fat, lazy, stupid idiots who believe all this stuff. And now she's like, that's her fan base. So she had to change it up a little bit. But she does everything she can to take digs at people who don't respond to her wanting to get like some sort of interview or statement from them. She loves it. Remember how she talks so positively about Amy Duggar or Lindsay Crisley when they were willing to talk to her and give her interviews and show up on her page. When they weren't, she completely flipped the script. Okay. Let's see. Kat says, Adriana, didn't she just have something about how busy she has been, Gwen? Yeah, I'm happy for Gwen too. She is like, now there could be other things going on in the background. I made a video about this. You can check it out if you want. But like, I do think it's really hard to be in college. And it sounds like Gwen is taking a really large load. I never took seven classes. And quite honestly, I'm just going to put out there because a lot of people pop in and they're like, this is her mom, and I totally understand what you're saying. Every family is different. Every situation is different. I know in my family, there's not a lot of expectations for people to show up to different things. Like we don't even do a lot of family events. There's a lot of dysfunction in our family and there's just a lot of craziness. There would not be the same expectations. I kind of wish there were. Now, here's the other thing. If my daughter was in this situation and she came to me and she said, Mom, I have this final. I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. I'm like falling apart here. I paid all this money for this semester. I'm going to fail. I tried to study, but it was your wedding. Let's say my husband has passed away mysteriously, or he's left me for another Robin Brown. So I'm getting married again. And my daughter's like, I wanted to come to your wedding, but like, I just can't do it. And also like there's just a lot of negative feelings between you and I over like this new guy, whatever. There could be other things in the background. Do you know what I would say? I would be like, you go, you do what you need to do, girl. I'm there for you. I'm supportive of you 110%. And the most important thing is that you get this degree, because if my daughter was going after getting like a really good degree, or my son or anyone, that would be the number one thing that whatever their passion is, that's what I would be supporting them to do, because I want them to go forward and have their own successful life. And unfortunately, like my own experience is that you can't just go to a professor and be like, I can't take this test. I'm gonna have to take it another time. That's not how a lot of things work in life. That's my personal opinion. 7 is way more than a full class load. I wonder. Yeah, I was kind of curious about like that's a lot. I don't know. I think she lives in California. It's a long trip for her to go to Utah. Yeah, she had to travel. Then that's a big issue too. I have 2 daughters in college, and I get Gwen. I don't see them when they're stressed, and we live together. Yeah, I would be so proud of my daughter or any of my children for going to school, for doing college. That there's not a lot of people who have gone to college in my family. I was the first. So I would be so proud of them. I would be like, no, like you are honoring me by getting this done. I don't need you to do things for me. I need you to do things for you. 110%. That would be my feeling. So many people wrote and they're like, they can't even like take off one test. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you never know. Okay. Gwen would have had to drive 5 to 6 hours each. See, I didn't even realize it was that far each direction, which is a huge time away from studying. Yeah. Yeah, it's big. My son is prepping for midterms in uni, and it's a big time for them. I totally agree, because what will happen is then the professor will be like, well, Gwen, you've had all this time to prepare. Like, I'm sorry your mom's like wedding is the weekend before, but you could have been studying all these many weeks before. And it's like, nobody is able to do that. You've got to do it like as it comes. I just get it. I didn't see it as now. Maybe we'll find out it was a bigger deal. Who knows? But I'm going to go with what Gwen has to say here. I think like one of the reasons why this is a big issue for me is now I see Without a Crystal Ball going after McKelty Brown as well. It's just like it never ends. It's just constantly like trying to insert yourself to get as many viewers and people to come over to you, and you'll say all this shit about people, and like it never occurs to you, because here's my thing. I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to judge and criticize and pick apart and make fun of and say a bunch of shit on the internet about 19-year-old Gwen Brown, who I watched grow up on TV. That's sad. I wrote this in my thing. I was like, grow up, Katie Joy. There's many people who are talking about it. There are many people who are like, we've been wondering like what's going on with Gwen and her mom. That's different than the kind of like sarcastic, angry, upset, like super involved posts that Without a Crystal Ball makes all over her social media. In my opinion, it's different. Okay. So going down, let's see. I want to show what she had to say about Mykelti. Okay. So this is where Without a Crystal Ball started going after Mykelti, because allegedly Without a Crystal Ball had subscribed to Mykelti's Patreon and she kicked her off. It says here, Mykelti Brown and Tony Padron membership has been canceled. Okay, so Without a Crystal Ball writes, I mean, I'm surprised she let me be a patron for the 10 months I paid for her content. Now here is where it gets gross for me. Because like I said, like someone could post about this. They could be like, Mykelti kicked me off, you know, blah, blah, blah. But here's where it gets gross for me. Because in my opinion, Without a Crystal Ball is trying to insinuate to her hundreds of thousands of viewers, Mykelti's content isn't worth the money. Just so you know, don't go over there, don't pay for it and cancel your membership. I absolutely believe that's what she's trying to do here. Because she says $120 for 10 months of watching Mykelti lie and discount all of the abuse her dad and Robin have inflicted on so many people. It's funny because Without a Crystal Ball was not saying this in the beginning of joining the Mykelti Patreon page. She was all about it because at that point, I think she believed she could still maybe manipulate Mykelti or Tony to give her some kind of like statement or to go on her show and, I don't know, do an interview, whatever. $120 to watch Mykelti talk crap about her siblings, blame them for having a bad relationship with their dad and Robin, and accuse her siblings of being difficult. But now that she's been kicked off of everything by Mykelti, she realizes that she could turn it all around and get people to go against Mykelti. She's just so manipulative. She is like fake news, right? People always talk about like fake news. It's like she doesn't put out anything real. She puts out what she wants you to believe that's best going to benefit her. Mykelti is not going to come on her page. Mykelti is not going to give her a statement. Mykelti doesn't like her, kicked her off of her Patreon. And so now she's got to put out there all this negative stuff about Mykelti. $120 to watch Mykelti throw her siblings under the bus like she did to Gwendolyn, knowing full well that the video would get out. And I think this is like, hey, Gwen, do you want to come on my page now that Mykelti said something about you? $120 to watch Mykelti call Robin's ex-husband an abuser and parrot every lie Robin has maliciously spread. You know who would love this? Who would love all this information from Without a Crystal Ball? Sorry, I should have made it bigger. The person who would really love this is all of the people who were so angry at me when I went into Sisterwives Facebook groups and I posted all about how much I love Robin and how great Robin is. And they were like, are you kidding me? They probably are the 100,000 people that subscribe to Without a Crystal Ball's Instagram page. Mykelti knew I was in this patron, does she mean Patreon, the entire time. My email was not hidden. She only blocked me after her siblings exposed her for doing Robin's dirty work. Did that happen? Can someone tell me what she means by that? Exposed her for doing Robin's dirty work. I report on this despicable behavior and call her out. Blocked. Thank goodness I can have my $10 a month back and know it won't go to abusive lies to protect her dad and Robin. That's so, to me, this is like, cancel your memberships, all 100,000 people who watch me. If you like me, then you will not like Mykelti Brown, who is a 20-year-old girl who came from the AUB, and you have said repeatedly that you're all about supporting and helping people who leave the AUB. And now you're telling everyone not to go and check out Mykelti's like stuff, not to support her. No, I'm not going to shut up about it. I'm not going to say, maybe Gwen wanted to get a bunch of classes out of the way. Yeah, maybe. There can be like multiple reasons why she did it. Schooling comes first. Yeah, it's just so wrong, you know? Okay, so let me go back here. So I was just really taken aback by that. And I was like, it's a lot of manipulation and bullshit. It like never ends. Okay, let's see what people said here. So I love Balls 2.0 because she goes through the comments. And this is what Balls posted. So Julie says, and did not she think that you would post about her blocking you? LOL. Just makes her look that like she's 1,000,000% guilty of the bull. I don't think it does. And then Without a Crystal Ball says, I'm glad to have my $10 back. Maybe I'll go buy a bottle of wine with it. And Julie says, get the cheap stuff. Then you can have 2 bottles. It's funny because what is funny about this is McKelty has spoken out on her Patreon about how they grew up without having food. A lot of times they only had like bread that they give out to all the kids because there was no money. Isn't this what Without a Crystal Ball says is the abuse that happens in the cult? So McKelty grew up like this. McKelty has been a part of it. She left it. She chose to marry a man who does not want to do polygamy, a man who's of color, who comes from a different culture than her. And Without a Crystal Ball is doing the opposite of supporting McKelty. I mean, that's what she basically says her whole social media presence is about. And she's disgusting. She's absolutely disgusting. Lies. 100% lies. Let me see. Lily B. KG needs to buy a clue with that $10. I love that. Oh, Marissa, I remember this too. Remember a year ago, Mary was live and she was like, that crystal ball knows nothing. And, you know, I put on my channel this thing where I was like, because I know that some of the people who Without a Crystal Ball speaks to are in the AB, they follow me and they've written messages. The woman that she interviewed had written some messages to me on my YouTube channel. And I said, like, people who are in the AB, pay attention to this. Pay attention. People in the IBLP, pay attention to Without a Crystal Ball is doing. She is not a supporter of victims. She knows nothing about people who have like gone to school to learn how to help people who have been involved in like high demand religious institutions. She is a lying liar. She is a fraud. She's a fraud. Without a Crystal Ball is a fraud, in my opinion, 110%. Because it's no problem for her to just be on social media and talk about like these different people and do like gossip and stuff, but she refuses to call it that. She constantly sticks her nose into like serious matters and screws everyone's lives up. She doesn't care. She moves on. She's the kind of person who sets fire to someone's house and then just walks away while everyone else deals with it. And then criticizes the firefighters who show up to put out the flames. 110%. That is who Without a Crystal Ball is. Mama Cat, happy anniversary. Let's see, our 32nd anniversary will be next week. Oh, we should celebrate. Maybe you should tell us, well, you should do something with your real life family on the day of the anniversary. And then maybe the day after we can celebrate together. And then Marissa says, yeah, KJ bragged about Mary mentioning her. Yeah. That's how Without a Crystal Ball operates. She'll turn anything into like, they know about me. Her delusional ways, like it does make you realize that the people who get really ahead on like social media, Instagram, they become influencers. Like a lot of them are just really big assholes. They're willing to like push people over, set fire at everyone's homes, and then they make it all the way to the top. I really see that with Without a Crystal Ball, because you know who I've really come to like and admire? It's the channel LB, who I think is like a very nice, sweet, good person who makes content, does a good job, and has kind of come up alongside of Without a Crystal Ball. But Without a Crystal Ball, because she talked a bunch of lies and salacious BS and was always willing to make the craziest, most on fire thumbnails for people to click on, and because she would constantly be like, I have a secret source. And LB didn't do that. Without a Crystal Ball has shot up to the top, making thousands of dollars a day on her YouTube channel. And I don't like it. I don't want her to get away with that kind of shit after she hurt so many people. I thought this was funny. This is just, I guess, Balls 2.0 making fun of how Katie dances, because Katie was kind of saying some stuff about dancers not being very good. You nailed it. It's like a middle school bully that starts a fight, then walks away laughing while the others are getting beat up. Yeah, exactly like that, Ivana. So actually like that. I like when KJ does weird things like that. That's better than her constantly like being mean to everyone. Was there anything else I want? Oh, here was another one that I thought was really funny and weird. Okay. So Without a Crystal Ball also put this in her stories, which is really interesting. Friends, I appreciate the DMs, but please don't forward me other Sister Wives creators' memes or content. I've got dozens of messages of a baby Cody talking about sacred loneliness. I don't reshare content, just so you know, frequently of other creators. And I get it that many of you find this hysterical, and I appreciate you thinking of me, but please stop forwarding it to me. So she makes this whole like post about it, and then she goes back and does it again. I really don't want to turn off my DMs, but I might have to. Please, please do not forward me other creators' content. Thank you. Why not? You literally can ignore it. You literally can ignore it. I'll tell you why not. Because she doesn't want to hear from anybody that somebody made a better meme, has a better content than she does. That's why she doesn't like it. People are sending it to her like, look at this, isn't this cool? And instead of her being like, let me share it, like, this is cool, let me share it, and send people to that person. Let me send my 100,000 people to the person who made whatever, I don't even know what it is, whatever meme. She's like, don't even tell me that somebody else is covering Sister Wives. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I'm the only creator on these YouTube streets. So sad. Whoa. 2 weeks later, she was KJ the attorney. KJ's got a lot of stuff going on in court, you know, so I don't know. So I've really kind of lost a lot of interest in it. It makes me angry when I actually stop and look at it like I am right now and like I did earlier. But in general, it's the same old, over and over again from Without a Crystal Ball. It never changes. Now, I would say she used to attack other creators like crazy, and she doesn't do that anymore. I think it's because of the lawsuit. I think she's so busy with that she doesn't want to like pile on additional people that she's like in fights with at this point, but she used to do that all the time. You know, now I feel very free to be able to talk about her content and not get necessarily backlash directly from her. Although I do get backlash from a lot of her fans and her ongoing people who like support her a lot. And I did make my video about how I may have like a stalker, just someone that's like bugging me, has been bugging like a lot of other creators who's been connected to Without a Crystal Ball. I'm not saying that Without a Crystal Ball is controlling it, but like everything that comes from Without a Crystal Ball is shit. So now this person is really doing some shitty things. And it's hard like to see this. It's really hard for me. Like I'm a very small creator who has very small thoughts about what my channel is. Like I want this to just be something I can do while my main focus is on my kids. And I like doing it because when I get really stressed out about my kids, I get this sense of like, well, at least I completed my video. You know, like when I'm done with the Kate Goslin book, I know that's going to feel really good to me. It's going to be like I completed something, where with my kids, I like never really complete anything. We're just on an ongoing spiral of, you know, motherhood that I love and hate at the same time, you know, so this has been good for me. But I'm saying that I've looked at some other creators who've really been affected by Katie Joy. Like we're really affected by her, and it's wrong. It's so wrong. And you know, I'm never gonna stop like saying things when I really feel like something wrong is happening. Who knows? I have to admit, I was a member for 2 weeks. We're gonna burn you at the stake, Kathy. No, we're not. Can you, would you be available to just like come to my house and hang out one night, like when it's not raining and the wind isn't too bad, and just bring some like lighter fluid. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm being so silly. A lot of us have. Okay, so one of the things, Kathy, is like many of us have been very drawn to her. And Kat says that here. I've got this little bug in here. And that's part of the reason why we actually now like feel frustration towards her, right? Because if we never cared in the beginning, we wouldn't even know of her or notice her. But I started my YouTube channel because of Katie Joy. I had started watching her about the Josh Duggar trial. I was very interested in the Duggars. My main source that I had listened to that really like changed my thought process and my opinion and sent me down a rabbit hole was I listened to a podcast called I Pray You Put This Journal Away. And it was about a boy who grew up with Josh Duggar and was a friend of his. And that led me down the rabbit hole of listening to Katie Joy and feeling like, oh, wow, there's a creator who talks about this. I want to hear what she has to say. This is great. I would watch her, you know, a couple of times a week, like before bed. This was during COVID. I was like really into it. But I started to feel like something is off. Like, I don't agree with some of what Without a Crystal Ball has to say, but nobody else really talks about it. There's nobody down in the comments disagreeing with her. There's nobody that takes my perspective on. And I'm just getting to a point like it's okay that I disagree with her, but I really want to hear from someone who feels differently. And then I went down the road of creating my own channel. So, and it took a while for me to really get to the point where I was like, I went through all these stages with Without a Crystal Ball. You know, in the beginning, I was like, oh, she's fine. Just leave her alone. Then there were a lot of stages, but one stage I went through is just being like, this is someone with a lot of mental health issues. So I would never speak out against someone who just has like mental health issues. It took me a while to really take the time and energy because I've got a lot going on, as all of you do. It took me a lot of time to take the time to really look at all of the situations she has been involved in for the past 6 years. I mean, problem after problem after problem, going after other creators, sending fake emails to people, like constantly saying that she has a stalker who's stalking other people, which may or may not be true, but it all comes from her. It all originates with her. You know what I mean? So, and she's just never been honest. She's never said she's sorry. You know, she never like sticks. She'll say that something's really important to her, but she'll completely swap that out when it's no longer going to make her money. And that's really hard for me to watch. It's hard for me to watch people, maybe like LB or whatever, who I think deserve like the views and the accolades and the subscribers and deserve to be in a situation where they're making enough money to take care of their family. And yet Katie Joy is making like 10 times the amount that most people make on YouTube, and she has no like gratitude. Just really, really hard. Simulation. I always thought something bad must have happened to KJ to make her be this way. That's what I used to think as well. But as I've gone further down the rabbit hole and seen a lot of what's going on with her, like in her background, her family, all this stuff, I mean, I think I shouldn't say too much, but I think she constantly now wants to talk about how like her childhood was terrible, her life was crap. I have heard from people who were friends with her, like how much her parents were there for her, constantly coming over, helping her with her child, giving her things, giving her money. She inherited a home from her family. Like her first home was inherited, 0 money down. Her first home was given to her, which she constantly criticizes like the Duggar kids for getting that, but that was her life. Like she's so lucky to have had that. Got the first home, had a child. Their child had some medical and developmental issues. And then she sold the home to get the home of her dreams, which is, you know, allegedly like this huge, beautiful house in a nice little neighborhood in Minnesota. She constantly complains about it. You know, I mean, I just can't really like see how I can have empathy for that person or believe that person, because we also know, based upon the many situations that have come before, that she lies constantly. She's been caught in lies so many times. And I think because of her lack of ever feeling guilty, of ever feeling shame, of ever feeling embarrassed, like she's so far beyond that whereas other YouTubers like literally will shut down their channel like when they get caught doing some of the stuff that Katie Joy has done. Katie Joy just keeps going. She pushes forward. She gains new subscribers. And it has shown her that she can just constantly pretend that stuff didn't happen and she'll just continue to win. I really hate seeing that for, you know, specifically someone who's been so hurt by her like LB. My lawyer was a neighbor in the cul-de-sac and said Cody had grabbed Mary and forced her against the car, yelling. And KJ was like, no, because there was no police report. Really? That's crazy. Marissa, I never knew that. You know, I don't remember you saying that before. Cody had grabbed Mary and forced her against the car, yelling, "Oh." Maybe there are things going on, you know, that we don't realize about Cody. Was that like a long time ago? Like early on or more recently? I'm just curious. Maybe because of all the tea, you know? Okay. This person is exactly like, this is what I don't understand. All these people that I'm like interested in now, they all remind me of Without a Crystal Ball. It's like my new thing. Yeah, the police report came back and bit me in the butt. He couldn't work if there were police reports, so I didn't report, pay the bills with 5 children, and he goes out of town. Fine, leave. Jill, is this about your husband? I missed the first part. What really bothers me is the lies she's told about him. He's nonverbal, but he speaks in full sentences. He can't walk, but he runs in and out of the room. The conservatorship really bothers me. Yes, that is why I really see like KJ and this person being a lot of like, it's crazy. And this person climbed the ladder and made millions of dollars. Those are the kinds of people that are at the top of our pyramids in this world. I think it's rare that you find someone at the top who's really a good person. That's sad, but I think it's true. Like Kate Gosselin fooled the world. But even like once people knew who she was and we knew what she was doing, we still liked watching her. Katie Joy is exactly the same way. And the way that people get so behind her, it makes me feel like what kind of person are you that you defend this kind of behavior? Just hard. It's hard to see. I'm excited about the next part of the Kate Gosselin book. I really need to go more quickly through it. We're getting to talking about Beth Carson. Beth, a true friend, someone who is very involved. Bob and Beth Carson were John and Kate's best friends in the world at one time. They watched the Gosselin kids at their house and socialized with the Gosselin family on many occasions. Bob Carson even gave John a job at one point. Kate speaks very, very highly of them in her journal. Okay, and so there's a lot of information in here from her journals about how like positive it was. And then something happened. Okay. Kate Gosselin, this is an article. It says Kate Gosselin, Times Person of the Year. So they're asking the question like, how did Kate Gosselin become Times Person of the Year? Okay, this was in 2007. Beth, a friend of Kate Gosselin, star of John and Kate +8, posted a comment on a post I wrote of questionable tone, calling sextuplets my sympathies. The post got a much more extreme response than I expected. I meant no harm to Kate Gosselin, who should win Time Magazine's Person of the Year award, in my opinion. I felt our exchange was worth its own post. Sorry, this is kind of confusing. Okay, so this is what Beth wrote. This is the post she left. I guess it must have been online, like posting to the person who writes an article about Kate. Beth writes, "You may ask, how does she have the right to inform me of their circumstances? Well, you see, I am a close friend of the Goslins. If you don't think this is legitimate, you can watch John and Kate +8 and you will see me periodically. I frequently care for all 8 of their beautiful children when they are unable to due to appointments, conflicts, or when they just need a weekend away, which we are all entitled to at some point, of course. Why do you think John and Kate decided to keep all 6 of their sextuplets rather than using selective reduction to limit their chances of health complications, budget issues, or just plain insanity? They kept the babies because they knew that those tiny gray spots on the screen would soon grow into Aiden, Alexis, Hannah, Colin, Joel, and Leah. No one, unless in Kate's shoes, has the right to judge or criticize the life of her family. Obviously, Kate Gosselin made the choice to view her circumstances as a blessing. She had adequate grace and poise to recognize the rewards that would come of this large challenge set before her. Kate is one of the most admirable and amazing women I have ever known. As I'm sure you have seen on the show, it takes an amazing woman to do a job like hers. I also wanted to thank you. I'm skipping over some of it because I will go over this in the videos. I also wanted to thank you for your kind comments regarding my relationship with the Goslins. Watching 8 children for days on end may seem like a burden, but it was truly a blessing. With blessings, Beth. Okay. So she posted this to like someone who wrote this article, this author, and they just seem like they're such good friends. And then Hoffman goes into this whole tale about how there was a huge rift developed between Beth and Kate. Beth Carson wrote Multiple Blessings. So that's the book that Kate put out. The book was supposed to be a 50-50 split between Beth and Kate. That seems fair enough. But Kate found a way to mess up that agreement thanks to her personal need for greed. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to go down that rabbit hole. So she had a complete falling out with Beth Carson. And it all had to do with her desire to get all the money. Now, Beth Carson and her husband had money, and they gave John an amazing job. Like, they helped her out. They helped Kate and her family out when they needed help the most. Lulu, whatever happened to those German shepherds that Kate got? Girl, you don't know? Boy, you don't know? I don't know. I don't want to say you're one or the other. They got sent back to the breeder. They sent them back to the breeder. They sent the first one back early on. They kept the other one for a while later, and it eventually got sent back to the breeder. All this craziness. All right, let me check chat real quick and just see what people are up to. Marissa, did you respond? Because I was wondering. I don't see it here. It's really hard for me to catch everyone's like your comments in the chat. So I'm sorry if I miss something. I do try to go back later if I can and watch comments, but sometimes it doesn't work. I'm so ridiculous. I don't understand how YouTube works. Like, I'm the creator and I can't tell you guys how it works. Okay, Lillian Muse says, Kate was never a person I liked. I could see from the beginning that she was in it for the money. You always felt like she was not a nice person. Well, this book has really opened my eyes. Now, I had a lot of issues with her, but I didn't realize it was this bad, guys. I mean, did you watch the video I put out today? To me, is like everything, because it's basically like, to me, it's like flat out like proof based upon stuff from the book, but also based upon some video images that I show, that Kate was just like a monster in her home to these kids. It's insane. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. This is the next part that I'm going to be talking about in my next video, okay? Okay, Hoffman writes, at the time of their divorce, when Kate was splitting time at the house with John, she would always leave a list for John of things that she wanted him to take care of at home when he had the kids. I don't know about you guys, but like when I watched the John and Kate +8, and this is just my personal situation, my husband, like it's very hard to get my husband to do things. So I'm kind of shocked by the way that John was just constantly, seemingly doing everything, like taking care of the kids, working full time, getting the kids dressed. I mean, I guess when you have like 6 kids, you literally can't do it unless both people are like very actively involved. But it seemed like Kate just kind of sat on a throne. I mean, even like the way, even in the beginning, when she was like supposedly not classically like as attractive, I thought she looked fine. But even like this, she took the time to like fix her hair. When I had one child, I never got time alone in a bathroom to fix my hair. So I'm just like thinking to myself, she got a lot of help from John. So she leaves him a list of things to do. They're going through a divorce, but she'll leave him a list of things to do when he's home. These are things that she was just too busy to do, like doctor's appointments, clothes shopping. I don't want to be like male and female roles, but I'm kind of shocked that she would leave this stuff for him. Filling up the gas tank on the big blue bus, etc. Kate always left a list for John. I remember when little Lexi had been sick and complained about it to Kate for 4 days, but Kate put off helping her until John had his custody. Oh my God. She left him a note telling him to take her to the doctor, and it turned out that Lexi had strep throat and had been suffering with an infected throat for days. Wow. That sounds like Kate, though. It's shocking. I've got to, like, I need to go more down the rabbit hole and, like, more about, I don't want to like invade their privacy, but I really want to know more about what's going on with those girls now in their lives, Kate Goslin's like girls, because I just feel like their mom gave them the worst possible like role model to grow up with. Lulu says, John was subscribed to the happy wife, happy life idea, not realizing it was an impossible feat in his case. Yeah, true. So true. Kate cooked. Everyone else did everything else. Yep. And I don't know that she always cooked. I mean, just like the stuff she would make, even like in her cookbooks, like people said she stole a lot of the recipes, and I've talked about that. Oh, thank you, Brenda. I love watching her videos. Thank you. I know not everybody's into the Kate Goslin thing, but I'm like, I just find this, I don't know why this book, like, there isn't a more to do about it. You know what I mean? All right. I will head off to bed. I'm so glad that you guys were here with me tonight. I'll put out another Kate Goslin thing tomorrow. For those of you who are asking, thank you so much. My daughter is just really sick with a cold. I had to go pick her up at school. I am worried because we have the fall carnival and I like signed up to do all these things. So some prayers and good thoughts, mainly that I don't get sick. I would also really like it if my son doesn't get sick, because this is like his first opportunity to do like a fall carnival thing. So I'm loading everyone up with vitamin C and trying to like segregate my daughter to another room. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I hope you guys have a good night. Bye, everyone.